Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome to this ceremony for the 77th anniversary of the Blue Angels in real life. I am Lieutenant Avidan Grantham and I will be your MC for the proceedings. Note that military personnel covers are to be worn in this area, and if everyone would mind standing right now for the national anthem of the United States. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you remain standing, please, for the hymn of the United States Navy.
Eternal Father, strong to save, whose arm doth bind the restless wave, who bids the mighty ocean deep its own appointed limits keep. Oh, hear us when we cry to thee, for those in peril of the sea.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please resume your seats and we will begin the ceremony. I would like to call upon Admiral Trans-Sands to welcome everyone and open the ceremony. Admiral Trans.
Welcome, friends. I am Admiral Trans-Sands, XO of the Blue Angels aerobatic team. If you are here, you are friends of the Blue Angels. We welcome you to the 77th anniversary birthday of the Blue Angels aerobatic team. Next up will be Captain Jenny Trite-Cause with a history of the Blue Angels in real life. Enjoy.
I'll now call upon Captain Jenny Trite-Cause for her presentation on the history of the Blue Angels. Captain Kaz.
Hi there, or as we say in the Great Southland, home of the koala and kangaroo. G'day. Obviously the fact you are here means you have an interest in the Blue Angels. When asked to do this speech on the history of the Blues, I thought, oh, that will be easy. Yeah, sure. There is just so much to tell about this amazing team of aviators, their beautiful flying machines, and the support they have received and given from the beginning. Well, let's go to where it all began. Since the first pilot took teetering steps into the air in a rickety flying machine, a love affair began with the general populace in awe of these flying machines. The aircraft developed more because of accidents than successes. They started traveling greater distances. They then became the stuff of legends we still mention with awe. As the aircraft became better and more controllable, people would see more planes flying, usually at a Bond-storming air show, or in the early silent movies. They were brave souls. Many, of course, died pursuing their thrills. People who had never been close to an aircraft, many having never seen one, were suddenly agog at the aerial antics as two or more aircraft flew in close formation, sometimes with stuntmen crawling over them and, in some cases, transferring from one to another, and sometimes transferring to the ground, which never ended well. With the First and Second World Wars, aviation took off. Excuse the pun, the technology available giving rise to better sometimes, and faster machines. Before 4002, of course, formation flying had become a part of normal armed forces training. In the early years, more airmen were needed, and the public interest needed to be fed. And so our story begins. Post-war, 1946. Less than 12 months after the end of World War II, Admiral Chester Nimitz had a vision to create a naval flight demonstration team, with the intent being to raise the public's interest in naval aviation and to boost Navy morale. A young Navy pilot had caught the attention of Admiral Nimitz, Lieutenant Commander R.M. Butch Voris. Voris was a World War II fighter ace, and Admiral Nimitz handpicked Voris for a special assignment to develop a flight demonstration team that would put on a show that would feature the abilities of naval aviators. In an interview, Butch Voris said the orders he received were, "Go do it, tell me when you've done it, and you're ready." LCDR Voris was a bachelor, and he felt this gave him the time to devote to full-time flying, so naturally decided his team should also be bachelors also. He chose two other naval aviators, Lieutenant Maurice Wickendall and Lieutenant Mel Cassidy, both instructors, and with the now formed three-man team, began building a list of maneuvers to best showcase what they could do. Butch Voris chose to only use 3 aircraft, feeling the aircraft chosen for the team, the F-6 Hellcat, with its large propeller, would create too much turbulence for the 4th position slot pilot to fly safely and achieve what Voris aimed to do. When ready, the team performed for top brass at the Jacksonville Air Station. Admiral Nimitz told LCDR Voris, "Okay, if you're ready, I'm ready," and the team performed the routine they had worked on. The reaction of the Admiral: "You crazy sons of bitches, you're gonna kill yourselves, but it's a great show." The image behind me is the very first known photo of the Navy flight demonstration team, flying their Grumman Hellcats. The first public show on June 15, 1946, at Craig Field, Jacksonville, Florida, was a total hit. Audiences were amazed at the flying demonstration. The first Blue Angels demonstration aircraft wore navy blue nearly black with gold lettering. The current shades of blue and yellow were adopted when the first demonstration aircraft were transitioned from the Grumman 5 Hellcat to the Grumman 1 Bearcat in August 1946. As the team flew more shows in the first month of public flights, people loved them, and it dawned on the team that they needed a name other than Navy Flight Exhibition Team. So a competition was run in the training command. Many names were submitted, but none were liked by the team. Soon after, while sitting with the number 2 pilot, Maurice Wickendall, who was going through the New Yorker magazine Goings On About Town section to pass the time, and suddenly said, "Boss, I got it, the Blue Angels," after an advertisement for the Blue Angels nightclub. The name was an instant hit with the team. Way to go. We were named from a nightclub after 10 appearances with the Hellcats. The Hellcats were replaced by the lighter, faster, and more powerful 1 Bearcats on the 25th of August. By the end of the year, the team consisted of 4 Bearcats numbered 1 to 4 on the tail sections. In May 1947, flight leader Lieutenant CMDR Bob Clark replaced Butch Voris as the leader of the team. The team, with an additional 5th pilot, relocated to Naval Air Station NAS Corpus Christi, Texas. On the 7th of June at Birmingham, Alabama, 4th Bearcats numbered 1 to 4 flew in diamond formation for the first time, which is now considered the Blue Angels trademark. A 5th Bearcat was also added that year, painted yellow with blue writing. An SNJ Texan was also added, the Beetle Bomb, also painted yellow and with Japanese roundels. This aircraft was used as a substitute for a Japanese Zero for dogfights with the Bearcats in their shows. In January 1948, Lieutenant CMDR Raleigh Dusty Rhodes took command of the Blue Angels team, which was flying 4 Bearcats and the yellow-painted SNJ with USN markings dubbed Beetle Bomb. The name Blue Angels also was painted on the Bearcats. It was at this time, in 1949, the original Blue Angels insignia or crest was designed by Lieutenant Commander Raleigh Dusty Rhodes. The aircraft silhouettes change as the team changes aircraft. On the 13th of July, the team acquired and began flying the straight-wing Grumman F9F-B Panther between demonstration shows. On the 20th of August, the team debuted the Panther jets under team leader Lieutenant Commander Raleigh Dusty Rhodes during an air show at Beaumont, Texas, and added a 6th pilot. All Blue Angels pilots volunteered for combat duty. The squadron, due to a shortage of pilots and no available planes, and its members were ordered to combat-ready status. After an exhibition at Naval Air Station, Dallas, Texas, on the 30th of July, the Blue Angels were disbanded, and its pilots were reassigned to a carrier, the USS Princeton, on the 9th of November. The group forming the Corps of Fighter Squadron 191 VF-19 Satan's Kittens, under the command of World War II fighter ace and 1950 Blue Angels Commander Flight Leader, Lieutenant Commander John Magda. On the 25th of October 1951, the Blues were ordered to reactivate as a flight demonstration team and reported to NAS Corpus Christi, Texas. Lieutenant Kuda Voris was again tasked with assembling the team. He was the first of only 2 commanding officers to lead them twice. In May 1952, the Blue Angels began performing again with F9F5 Panthers at an air show in Memphis, Tennessee. In August, Blues leader LCDR Ray Hawkins became the first naval aviator to survive an ejection at supersonic speeds when a new F9F6 he was piloting became uncontrollable on a cross-country flight. In 1954, the first Marine Corps pilot, Captain Chuck Height, joined the Navy flight demonstration team. The Blue Angels also received special colored flight suits. In May, the Blue Angels performed at Bolling Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. with the Air Force Thunderbirds, the Thunderbirds being activated on the 25th of May 1953. The pilots of both teams have maintained a close rivalry and friendship, often pranking each other when flying shows at the same airports. The Blue Angels began relocating to their current home at Naval Air Station NAS Pensacola, Florida that winter, and it was here they progressed to the swept-wing Grumman F9F8 Cougar. In December, the team left its home base for its first winter training facility at Naval Air Facility El Centro, California. After summer, the team began demonstrating with the F9F6 Cougar. In September 1956, the team added a 6th aircraft to the flight demonstration in the opposing solo position, and gave its first performance outside the United States at the International Air Exposition in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This brought the team positions to what we now are as normal. In 1957, the Blue Angels transitioned from the F9F8 Cougar to the supersonic Grumman F1 Tiger. In service with squadrons, the Tiger was withdrawn after 4 years due to unreliable engines and lack of range, and the availability of newer generation aircraft such as the Phantom. While the F-11's fighter career was short, the Blue Angels performed in the aircraft from 1957 to 1968 when the Tiger was replaced by the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II. The first demonstration was flying the short-nosed version on the 23rd of March at Boren Field, Pensacola, and then the long-nosed versions. The demonstration team wore gold flight suits during the first air show that season. In 1958, the first 6 plane Delta maneuvers were added that season. The Blue Angels began a world tour from 1964, flying to numerous countries over the next few years. In July 1964, the Blue Angels participated in the Aeronaves Mexico Anniversary Air Show over Mexico City, Mexico, before an estimated crowd of 1.5 million people. In 1965, the Blue Angels conducted a Caribbean island tour, flying at 5 sites. Later that year, they embarked on a European tour to a dozen sites, including the Paris Air Show, where they were the only team to receive a standing ovation. In 1967, the Blues toured Europe again, at 6 sites. The Phantom was powered by 2 General Electric J79 engines with a top speed of 2,370 km per hour. The Blues transitioned to the 2-seat McDonnell Douglas F4J Phantom II in 1969, nearly always keeping the back seat empty for flight demonstrations. The Phantom was the only plane to be flown by both the Blues and the United States Air Force Thunderbirds, the Birds. In 1970, the Blues received their first U.S. Marine Corps Lockheed KC-130F Hercules, manned by an all-Marine crew. That year, they went on their first South American tour. In 1971, the team, which wore the gold flight suits for the first show, conducted its first FICE tour, performing at a dozen locations in Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Guam, and the Philippines. In 1972, the Blue Angels were awarded the Navy's Meritorious Unit Commendation for the 2-year period from the 1st of March 1970 to the 31st of December 1971. Another European tour followed in 1973, including air shows in Tehran, Iran, England, France, Spain, Turkey, Greece, and Italy. The Blue Angels became a squadron in its own right in 1973. On the 10th of December 1973, the Navy Flight Exhibition Team was reorganized and commissioned the United States Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron. This was the first time the Blue Angels flew as a dedicated squadron. The Blues' mission was more on Navy recruiting. In 1974, the Blue Angels transitioned to the new Douglas A-4 Skyhawk II, nicknamed the Pocket Rocket. This aircraft was small and light, easy to maintain compared to the Phantom, and with low fuel costs, was more economical for shows. The high performance of this nimble aircraft wowed audiences. Navy Commander Anthony Less became the squadron's first commanding officer and flight leader. A permanent flight surgeon position and administration officer was added to the team. The squadron's mission was redefined by Less to further improve the recruiting effort. Beginning in 1975, Fat Albert, as the C-130 support aircraft was now affectionately known, was used for jet-assisted takeoff JATO and short aerial demonstrations just prior to the main event at selected venues. But the JATO demonstration ended in 2009 due to dwindling supplies of rockets. Fat Albert Airlines flies with an all-Marine crew of 3 officers and 5 enlisted personnel. In 1986, Lieutenant Commander Donnie Cochran joined the Blue Angels as the first African-American naval aviator to be selected. He served for 2 more years with the squadron flying the left-wing man position in the No. 3A4F fighter, and returned to command the Blue Angels in 1995 and 1996. On the 8th of November 1986, the Blue Angels completed their 40th anniversary year during ceremonies, unveiling what would be their aircraft until 2020, the McDonnell Douglas F-18 Hornet. The power and aerodynamics of the Hornet allows them to perform a slow, high angle of attack tail sitting maneuver, and to fly a dirty formation loop. In 1992, the Blue Angels deployed for a month-long European tour, their first in 19 years, conducting shows in Sweden, Finland, Russia, first foreign flight demonstration team to perform there, Romania, Bulgaria, Italy, the United Kingdom, and Spain. In 1998, CDR Patrick Driscoll made the first Blue Jet landing on a Hayes Gray and underway aircraft carrier, USS Harry S. Truman CVN-75. In 2006, the Blue Angels mocked their 60th year of performing. In 2009, The Blue Angels were inducted into the International Air and Space Hall of Fame at the San Diego Air and Space Museum on the 1st of March 2013. The U.S. Navy announced that it was canceling remaining 2013 performances after the 1st of April 2013 due to sequestration budget constraints. In October 2013, Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel, stating that community and public outreach is a crucial departmental activity, announced that the Blue Angels along with the U.S. Air Force's Thunderbirds would resume appearing at air shows starting in 2014, although the number of flyovers will continue to be severely reduced. On the 15th of March 2014, the demonstration pilots numbered 1 to 7 wore gold flight suits to celebrate the team's return to the skies during their first air show of the season. There were only 3 air shows in 2013. In July 2014, Marine Corps C-130 pilot Captain Katie Higgins, 27, became the first female pilot to join the Blue Angels, flying Fat Albert for the 2015 and 2016 show seasons. In July 2016, Boeing was awarded a $12 million contract to begin an engineering proposal for converting the Boeing F/A-18EF Super Hornet for Blue Angels use, with the proposal to be completed by September 2017. The Fat Albert BUNO 164,763 was retired from service in May 2019 with 30,000 flight hours. The Blue Angels replaced it with an ex-RAF C-130J BUNO 170,000. In response to the coronavirus outbreak, the Blue Angels flew over multiple U.S. cities as a tribute to healthcare and frontline workers. They did this flight along with the Thunderbirds. The Blues officially transitioned to Boeing F/A-18F Super Hornets on the 4th of November 2020. The Thunderbirds team also show compassion when Captain Jeff Cuss, Blue Angel 6, was tragically killed in a training accident. The Thunderbirds placed a tribute to him on their number 6 plane. The Blue Angels continue to wow us at air shows throughout America, flying with precision and skill, and showing us all just what can be accomplished. What does the future hold? We will have to wait and see what aircraft the Blue Angels take on next. Most likely the Super Hornet. And what then? This has to be in the wait and see space. I would now like everyone to take a moment to remember all those amazing team pilots that have passed on since the beginning of the U.S. Navy and Air Force team aerobatic displays. March 12, 1959, Captain C.D. Fish Salmon. July 27, 1960, Captain J.R. Crane. April 6, 1961, Major Robert S. Fitzgerald and Captain George Niall. May 9, 1964, Captain Eugene J. Devlin. October 12, 1966, Major Frank Lethan and Captain Robert Morgan. January 9, 1969, Captain Jack Thurman. June 4, 1972, Major Joe Howard. December 21, 1972, Captain Jerry Bolt and Technical Sergeant Charles Lynn. July 25, 1977, Captain Charlie Carter. May 9, 1981, Captain Nick Hawk. September 8, 1981, Lieutenant Colonel David L. Smith. January 18, 1982, Major Norman L. Lowry, Captain Joseph N. Peterson and Captain Mike Malankin. April 4, 2018, Major Stephen Del Bagno, and all others from around the world who have passed on to fly in the heavens.
I'd now like to call upon Captain Von Kuhn for her presentation on the history of the Blue Angels in Second Life. Captain Von Kuhn, if you please.
Hello and welcome. It's my pleasure to address you today. I've been asked to present the history of the SL Blue Angels Naval Flight Demonstration Team, which is a great honor for me. Our team was founded on December 24, 2015, Christmas Eve. We were inviting from our role-play group, which is also called Blue Angels, founded by Barry Fohammer, which supports us to this day. I sent out a notice, not expecting much response on Christmas Eve, and by the time I logged on the next day I had 12 applications. Our team still retains 3 of the original members, including myself, Commodore Trans, and Captain Kaz. Jenny wasn't a captain back then though. In 2016, we added Commander and later Captain Asra Kron, call sign Cougar, as XO as part of our conversion to the U.S. Navy SL as a squadron. Supported by 3rd Fleet and stationed at NAS Miramar with our winter training ground NAF Eagle's Nest, the birthplace of our squadron. In 2019, we began work on our Hornets program, and it continues to be the test bed for all Blue Angels aircraft and jet fighters scripted by Shano Aircraft. Our original plane was the TJ-9J Cougar, built by Jade Kangas and scripted by Shena Carpool. Working with them, we developed the F-9 Cougar into a working airframe for the team. In 2020, a schism took place between 3rd Fleet and the Blue Angels NFDT, and I therefore returned the squadron to Naval Flight Training Command. At that time, several members of NAS joined the squadron, most notably the return of Commodore Trans, who had been on Hades, the late Captain Cavey, later Colonel USMC, call sign Popeye, and Colonel Corlo Quandary, among many of our later aviators who are with us today. Commodore Trans, and the new members joining, was the linchpin to our continuing history. She filled the vacuum left in the dismissal of our former XO. She not only filled this role, but surpassed the performance of her predecessor in so many ways. She is the jewel of this command. I must also mention our lead solo, Angel 5, Captain Jenny Kaz, call sign QB, who joined within 15 minutes of my sending the notice. She's the Christmas gift that keeps on giving. In our 8-year history, we've delivered 122 unique demonstrations at air shows around SL, from big to small, countless flyovers for military observations and ceremonies. We're accepting to every U.S. naval or marine aviator who qualifies. Our goal is to be a unifying force in our Navy, and we continue to operate both as members in our different units and in our squadron in the best traditions of the real Blue Angels. We continue to add great names to our roster because of the fine officers from every fleet who have come to join us. It is our pleasure and honor to serve. Thank you all for your attention.
Admiral Trans Sans, Boss Captain Vicky Kuhn, Admirals, Generals, Commanders of sister forces, military present, other authorities, ladies and gentlemen. Since their first air show at Craig Field in Jacksonville, Florida on June 15, 1946, the Blue Angels name has become synonymous with excellence, precision and professionalism, and today, fans around the world instantly recognize the team's jets in navy blue and gold livery. Being part of this Blue Angel family has taught me the true meaning of teamwork and opened my eyes to what people can accomplish when they are all there for each other. It is a great privilege to serve alongside all these amazing people. I am so grateful to be part of this family. Dreams can come true. No matter how many times you fail, never give up. Today we celebrate our 77th RL anniversary as a team. Happy birthday to all those who came before us and paved the way for the team we have today. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I invite all Blue Angels for the due tributes. Captain Vicky Kern, Angel Number 1, Lieutenant. Avarden Grantham, Angel Number 2, Commander. Klaus von Richter, Angel Number 4, Captain Jenny Triet Kaz, Angel Number 5, Admiral Trans Sans, Angel Number 6, Lieutenant Commander Shadow McConnick, Angel Number 7, Colonel Quorlo Quandary Fat Albert Pilot. I am very grateful to be alongside such competent and dedicated drivers. Thanks for the partnership, team. In recognition of your work done to the Blue Angels, Second Life Aviation and also Navy SL, transmitting daily the military routine and its teachings, I deliver the tribute in recognition and appreciation for the services rendered. Now, please pay tribute to these friends of the Blue Angels. NAS, Naval Air Station Admiral Trans-Sans. 2nd Fleet Rear Admiral N. Petrova. 7th Fleet Admiral Sidney Pobysky. SL Coast Guard, CAPT Coralie Fogarty, Area Commander of the SLCG. SL Marine Corps, General Neil Langdon or Jade Bright Flame. Shana Aircraft Shana Kapul. Sinsel International Airport Miss Selena Warwick. Second Life Cycling Federation Bill Jobs, represented by Kia Rare. MTFB Radio and SL Aviation Network, Luke Flywalker. In recognition of the partnership with the Blue Angels, Second Life's Aviation, I present the Blue Angels list of friends. We are grateful for everything. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, I invite you to pay due tributes to Friends of the Blue Angels, the teams of the Aerobatic Pilots Association. Aerobatic Pilots Association Captain Jenny Triad Kaz. Phoenix Aerobatic Teams Destiny Bellarosa. PAF Patrouille France Mara Kleber. Los Texanos Admiral Trans-Sans. EAREDA Esquadrille Hadaf Humaka. Team NAS Aerobatic, Commander Klaus von Richter. Anemone Wing Walkers, Flora Frainer. Roulette's Aerobatic Teams Lieutenant Avedon Grantham. Hawks Aerobatic Teams, Johnny No. 5,